From deep in the Burbank Media District, it's time for another edition of My Burbank Talks, presented by the staff of My Burbank. Now, let's see what's on today's agenda as we join our program.
Hello, Burbank. Craig Sherwood here with you once again, along with Craig Durling.
Happy Monday, everybody.
And of course, the one and only Ross Benson.
Good evening. Now can I take this hat off so it's not raining anymore?
What's wrong with the hat?
Well, I like the hat, but I
always
also
wonder
like
it's your branding. It's a
Yes.
Yeah, you
it's a
know,
My Burbank hat.
Burbank.
Can somebody get one of those for themselves? Is that possible to obtain one? Is there one in the swag store?
I'll have to look. We do have the swag store. I don't know if we have hats.
Here, show the hat. Hold the hat up again. We'll see if there's any interest for a nice, lovely,
Ooh, yeah, and it's
and a one size fits all. Look at that, nice
Yep,
flex
yeah.
fit.
That's actually
47.
That's a staff hat right there. So I'm sure we might have some in the. We'll have to take a look.
There it is.
Oh,
Maybe we'll make those available to somebody other than Ross.
It might be.
Oh, I have one.
do you?
I do.
He's a staff member.
I do have one.
Good.
And a fancy T-shirt probably too.
Oh, the one
I
that
do have a
says
T-shirt.
You survived.
I do have one.
Well, let's get on to the week that was. We're going to start off with last week's winner with the word atmospheric. And when we went to Alexa, she picked Samantha W. Samantha W., you are the winner this week of our
From the word of the week.
word of the week, atmospheric for Hill Street Cafe, $25 gift card.
Didn't her
That's
email
awesome.
say something about
What?
schlepping?
Yeah, and so
Must be a dog lover.
she must be, because it said on her email that she's out probably schlepping the dog somewhere.
Schlepping a dog.
Schlepping a dog somewhere. So Samantha, please send your address to us, and I will get
Right
that
on.
gift card out to you forthwith.
Well, thanks for listening, and thanks for emailing. Now, the question is, does she get bonus points if she spelled atmospheric correctly?
Oh, and she did.
She did?
Actually, she would get bonus points subtracted for not spelling it right.
Okay, that's how that. Okay,
Yes.
I got to read the rules again.
Your mileage may vary.
Well, congratulations, Samantha. Now, everybody out there listening, you got to wait for the rest of the show to listen for this week's word of the week, which
Right.
will be announced whenever it pops
whenever
up.
it happens, and
Whenever it pops up,
you'll hear the horns.
never know when it's going to
You guys
happen.
highlighted
But
that on my notes.
if you hear the word of the week and then email contest@myburbank.com
Yes.
with that in the subject line, and include your address if you don't want to get a lot of emails, only because we have to know where to mail it to, the card. But if you are the winner, which is chosen randomly from all entries,
All entries.
you too could win a $25 gift card to Hill Street Cafe.
Boy, and let me tell you, it's a great meal.
Oh,
It's a
great menu.
meal. Yeah.
Great menu. There's not a loser on that menu up there.
On Mondays, they make this homemade tomato bisque.
Oh,
That is just amazing.
love me a bisque. I do. Love a bisque.
Anyhow, so let's move on to last week. So last Tuesday,
That was the week that was.
the week that
Twas.
that's what we talk about first.
Twas, yes. It has already happened.
Last Tuesday, the Police Department Foundation had their awards lunch at the Marriott. Ross was there to cover it. So Ross, why don't you give us a rundown of what the event was?
Well, the Police Foundation honored several officers, Medal of Valor winners. People got some self-esteem award, or not self-esteem, professional esteem awards. Goof that one up.
Maybe you didn't.
Well, they would now feel better about themselves.
Is that a Freudian slip or no?
It was put on by the Police Foundation. It's a fundraiser for the foundation. They haven't done it in 3-4 years. And what's really nice is they had the, flag salute sung by a Burroughs choir member, and they gave out about 50 awards. A nice
Wow.
chicken dinner or chicken lunch. People got in there sat down by 12, and we're out at 1:10.
They gave that many awards away in an hour and
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
wow.
There were no speeches.
Was it part of the buffet? You get your mac salad and your
I think-
your piece of chicken and your award, and you just keep going to your table.
Well, it was, sit down, so they were served. But, yeah, it moved rather rapidly. I mean, to
Wow.
go through, to get people up there, they had
Yeah.
them prepared or prepped, standing on the side. They got up there. They would, Jim, the host or the MC, would read off why they got their award. Boom, they got
So-
down all their certificates instead of doing them all in front of everybody. Sherry Nakamura, the chief secretary, had them all together, ready for them. They walked off the stage. They were handed all their certificates.
I guess if you think about it, it's a lunch. A lot of people probably have to go back to work because
Well,
it
that's-
is during the lunch hour.
That's the thinking.
A well-oiled machine.
Hey, how about this? City Council, pay attention. Maybe we can start doing our resolutions the same way.
What a great idea. I thought you were going to say maybe we could have lunches at our council meetings at the Marriott.
Well, we could have council meetings during lunch now,
Yes.
so they can go late if they need to.
Yeah, they'd go morning, afternoon, and evening that way.
You know, there were some awards that I've heard all. I was kind of shocked to read some of the awards, but one of them was something that we carried a long time ago. It was an apartment fire on Grismer where two parents went walk into the market, left their kids in an apartment, the place caught fire, and now with body cameras, they showed what those officers had to go through to.
And they showed it at the luncheon?
Yeah.
Wow.
And talk about saving lives. Well, that's what the Medal of Valor is for. And they really, these guys.
Above and beyond.
Yep. And truly, that's what Medal of Valor is for.
Absolutely.
And there were some other awards. We've covered stories. They were for 3 or 4 years. Burbank was the first city for DNA to a 30-year case, murder case here in Burbank that they solved. They were able to go back to the family of the girl that was killed, and the guy has been convicted and trial. He's away for life, a couple of life sentences, because they found out from DNA, and a Burbank officer did that. So it was really a great lunch.
Technology's
So maybe a 30-year-old murder had a 30-year-old sentence instead of having the current DA give him 2
He had
years.
a couple of
But
life
technology's catching up now, and we can give these families, closure and bring suspects to.
I give them credit because
Justice
they've
now.
saved all that evidence for 30 years. They didn't just toss it away.
It was
It-
stored
it sat
properly.
there
Yeah.
and having that DNA, which back then they didn't know anything about that. And
Well, it was a what they call a cold case, 30 years
Right.
and a detective.
right, but if she had a hairbrush or something in that evidence thing, then
As long as all the evidence is processed and stored properly, I mean, it can last indefinitely. But because there's no statute of limitations for homicide or murder, then there's always a hope. Maybe
And what
down the
was
road,
nice-
some more evidence will come up.
They not only honored the officer that did the case when he was a detective, they honored the FBI agent that was involved in the case. They honored the DA that prosecuted the case. All 4 of them got awards.
Good.
And normally, like the guy, one of the FBI agents said, we don't get awards like this. They don't do that at our level. So it was the article. There's a great article by Lynn Lipinski in myBurbank from last week. I got a couple of pictures, and it's a good read.
well,
Congratulations. to-
Fantastic. Yes, well
Burbank
done.
officers.
Job well done, everybody.
and what's yet another part of getting back to normal again. And because with the pandemic, we didn't have that for a few years, and now we're one more thing that's back to hopefully a yearly event.
Yes.
Well, Tuesday night we had a city council meeting, and I think it only lasted till midnight this time instead of 1 a.m. But one of the things on the agenda, which I had pushed back from another meeting, is the talking about the landlord-tenant committee and the situation, not the committee, I should say, but the landlord-tenant situations, how they can solve.
Well, this is the one that everybody sat around for hours for,
For
waiting
hours
the
for.
previous meeting, and it got bumped to this one.
And here's the thing, too, which, somebody made a point during the oral communications because when he bumped it, he goes, I promise the next meeting it's going to be the first thing on the agenda. Well, it wasn't the first thing on the agenda. Yeah, there was and the mayor said, well, we have public hearings we have to do first. Now,
He should have known that for making big promises.
yeah, I mean, and he said later, well, public hearings have to always come first, and we meant it was the first agenda item after the public hearings. Well,
There you go.
he could have said that
Eh,
that night. I'm just
fair
saying,
enough. Fair
some
enough.
of those people were, here we go again, so
But they got it in there. They got it
they
in.
got in there, and here's the thing, and I think Ross is probably the only one who can really relate to this, but there's issues on both sides. And I get both sides. If you're a renter, having your rent go up 6%, it's tough. But on the other hand, I'm going to say this. If you're a landlord and the cost of being a landlord is X amount of dollars, but every year the property taxes, the water and power bill, all those things go up 7, 8, 9%, and the most you can do is recoup 6%, you're actually losing money on a yearly basis, at 3%. Is that fair to the landlord? No. But is it fair to the tenant to raise his rent 9%? No. I don't know what the solution is here, and Ross has gone through this, and you just had your rent raised a little bit,
A little bit? 9.8%?
I thought the state law was 6%.
10%.
Oh, state law is 10%.
Yep. And they didn't go to the max. They didn't go.
9%.
Almost.
But talk about several $100
Yeah.
onto my rent,
Well, when you're on Social Security and a fixed income, I mean, all of a sudden you can't work overtime. The government's going to say, "Oh, work overtime for Social Security. We'll give you an extra couple $100." No, that's not going to happen. So, I don't know what the solution, because looking at the landlord's point of view too. I mean, if your air conditioning goes out, if your plumbing goes out, if you need a new roof, you're not going to pay for that. And all of a sudden, a new roof is $20,000. Well, that's part of collecting rent and all. That's part of the cost of doing business. But I think being a landlord is not as lucrative as people think it is. Maybe these big, huge corporations, and that's why you have slumlords who don't care.
But I think also we have
the smaller homeowner, or the smaller landlord, who does care and wants to do right by his tenant,
but doesn't have the resources to absorb all this.
Right, it's probably losing as an investment for their retirement.
Well, and as they said during the meeting, and they've said previously, some of these landlords have been in Burbank since Lockheed was here. They bought a second place for income. But you also have to look, when they bought those places 30, 40, 50 years ago, I know my parents lived over here on Toluca Park Drive. They paid $25,000 for their house.
Yeah.
But now, when you have a house worth $1 million, you're making some good money on that house, and you're not renting it for that. So, but it's a tough.
Well, you're making good money on it when you sell it.
Oh yeah,
not when not when you're renting it.
As a landlord, it's a tough, but it's so touchy. I mean,
well, yeah,
I feel sorry for some.
Well, it
people.
affects so many people in every city.
And we have these. I just saw that the L.A. Landlord Commissioners or Tenant Union, and they're protesting at City Hall. They've been here in Burbank, and they say we have a right to housing here. We have a right. Well, yeah, you have a right, but don't the landlords have a right too to charge even a break-even price?
During COVID, landlords weren't getting rent. But they still have mortgages to pay. They still have utilities to pay. That they have to pay.
Yeah, the county did not say, okay, no taxes this year because of the pandemic, and all these people that didn't have to pay rent for months and months and months. Yeah. Once they say, okay, it's over, they go, oh, can't pay. Sorry, we're leaving.
Yeah, but if you're a landlord, you don't have the cash in the bank,
right,
to pay utilities and property and insurance and stuff for 2-3 years. What are you supposed to do? Your income is the tenants, and if they're not paying rent, what are you supposed to do if you're not a corporation?
Yes, exactly.
And I will say, a majority of the large property owners in Burbank people are reasonable, but there's a handful out there that are evicting.
Well, it's because they're local.
You're right.
There's a difference.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
But when there's new buildings built on Empire, 7 stories and 140 units, you think they're going to really care about the tenants there? No.
Is that the one with 2 parking spaces?
No, it's got 7.
Oh, 7. Okay.
And then 1 handicap spot too. Amazing. Amazing.
They really care.
Thank you, State of California, for shoving that down our throats. Anyhow, so that was kind of what the crux of the council meeting was. Anything you want to add on that, Ross? Or
yeah, there were a couple other things on that agenda that, I mean, after they did that, I kind of watch these things and it's like, oh, they're done with it already. I mean, I think this one was.
Or is there a lot of public comment? Were there a lot of people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about 2 hours on it.
Okay.
So if they would have done that last week, they would have been out there at 3 or 4 in the morning.
But I will say, listen to our city attorney. Like he said, they can't get involved on a private deal.
No.
And they were talking about where they draw the line. They can't advise them legally. The city council and the city attorney, he's there for the city council.
Well, they're going to come back with they call it a second reading. Where
Right.
They're going to have suggestions for the council to look at. And one of the things is going to be is actually giving the landlord-tenant commission some teeth.
A little.
Well, yeah, but it's
Baby
something.
teeth.
Yeah, but they need to have something. You just can't go there and have your gripe and say, "Well, we'll call the landlord," and the landlord doesn't respond. "Oh, sorry, we called, nobody responded," and that's the end of it. Well, that doesn't really help the person not ready to be evicted after years and years of good faith. I mean, we'd have to have those things such as these no fault evictions. I'm sorry, you're gonna evict somebody for no reason.
You got to remember, I lived in a place.
Yes,
Guy
what happened to
above
you?
me, 28 years. And we both got eviction notices because the landlord decided to go through and flip it. And he wanted to triple
Right,
the rent.
because he couldn't raise it enough on you
Right.
guys. He got rid of you.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
And I fought it. I lost several $1,000s. Lost.
Fighting it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I paid a Burbank attorney who was highly recommended to go see. He charged me $1,500 to just see me.
And what did you do that day in court? Oh wait, he didn't show up, did he?
Oh, no. The landlord? No.
No, the lawyer.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, you're going to
That's what got me.
You're going to pay him a couple $1,000. Expect him actually to show up for you in court too.
Yeah. So I went to court. I lost
Lawyers.
security deposit, cleaning deposit. I lost quite a bit. And you know what? Oh, too bad.
Right.
And I went to the landlord commission,
Yeah.
and they did a lot for me.
Yeah. They consoled you.
Right. I will say there was one person on the landlord commission at the time that recalled me back.
Oh,
once or
I think
twice.
those are all good, caring, and good meaning people, but they're like the crossing guard. They have no power. They can just
Right.
slow down. Well, if you don't, well, what are we gonna do about it? Nothing.
Yep. And then the next day,
Oh, Wednesday, you mean?
Wait, is this supposed to be some kind of a?
That was a segue.
that was a
Is
segue.
it a segue?
That's
So-
what they call a segue.
So I guess after the tenants and the landlords
Yeah.
have fought with each other, in case they want to go out with each other and make up, then it would have been Valentine's.
Have a nice
Day.
romantic dinner
It would have been Valentine's Day.
on Wednesday, February.
Now I hear some people
14th.
missay Valentine's Day.
Well, it's not even. I think everybody would since you brought it up. I think everybody would spell it correctly, Valentine's Day. But how many people do you know pronounce it Valentine's Day with an M?
Yeah.
A lot of people say Valentine's. It's not Valentine's. But if you ask them to spell it, they'll probably spell it with an N. But they don't say it that way.
You know
All
what?
I know is I got
wonder
married.
What that is?
I got married 35 years ago on Valentine's Day.
No.
Valentine's Day.
What a
And
dark
I'll never forget it because we did that so I'd never forget my anniversary. I was married.
Now you wish you would.
My former wife and I, we're civil and friendly to each other because we have a great son who we both raised, and I know a lot of people. But I will tell you, for many years, is you were a roommate of mine. It was pretty hectic a couple of times, many years.
Yeah. No need to get into any
Yeah.
details, but it was a difficult time for you.
You know, and all I can say to people going through it now, you'll get through it. You'll live through
You
it.
will. It'll get better.
Yep.
As they say. But yes, it is Valentine's Day. That's all.
It's not a mime.
That's all I got.
9.
It's just like it's median strip and not
Yes,
medium
not
strip,
medium.
right?
We're going
Yeah.
to talk about that in a bit.
Something in the human anatomy makes the M makes you go to M instead of N.
For some reason,
Not you, but
people pointed out to me, and I can't change it because this is the way it is. I don't say Tuesday. I say Tuesday. Tuesday. I have,
Well, you have there's
I have D's instead of days.
right there, but you do that, and it's noticeable in this show because we name the days a lot,
Yeah,
and you do the Tuesday, but you have it's almost like an old timey, like maybe a Midwest pronunciation because you also say program.
yeah, instead of program.
Right.
Yes.
Right. You have a different emphasis on it. And I don't know if that's almost reminiscent of like a regional accent or something, like an old timey thing. You're old timey. Did anybody tell you you're old timey?
It's a Burbank accent from the old
Is it a
days. Of
Burbank?
Yeah, when I had the
Media district adjacent.
Yeah, the old teachers like Mrs. Melton and Mrs. Brady and
Mr. Brindell.
Mr. Brindell.
There was some stuff
Well,
on
because
Facebook.
people that actually live in the media district don't have that. They don't pronounce the words like that.
No, they probably don't.
Just the people on the outskirts,
'Cause
on
they
the other
won't-
side of the tracks.
Yes, just in that little media district adjacent area.
Now, I will tell you, I didn't have anybody to buy roses for or chocolates for or anything like that.
I would have graciously accepted the gift.
You were out of town. Oh,
Right.
no, you weren't. You were still in town. But you got to remember, I will say I stopped and did see my granddaughters,
Oh,
and I wished them both a
there are your Valentines right there.
You better believe it.
Absolutely.
Well, my only Valentine here is Dodger, and I don't know if that really counts. Dodger, how you doing? Things are good for you today?
There's
Okay.
smile.
We got the Dodger cam on it again tonight. Yeah,
And he's Dodger blue.
yes.
He's very blue down there.
Is he down? Yeah. Well, he's in he's making a little appearance.
Attack. Sick balls.
There you go. There he is.
Oh, well, now, there you go. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Is that a leg or is that Dodger? I can't tell.
It's my leg and Dodger's snout.
And after a wonderful Valentine's Day, it was Thursday.
Moving on to there's a segue. And guess what happened on Thursday?
Thursday?
Thursday.
Like D-E-E?
You know
Thursday?
what? You'll never let me
A
forget
lot of
that
stuff.
now, will you?
Big day.
In fact, Thursday.
Big day on Thursday,
My understanding
the
was
15th.
Thursday was just canceled due to lack of interest.
The Ides of February.
So we'll
Nothing on Thursday?
We'll move on to Friday.
Nothing on Thursday? We're bouncing right to Friday. February
So
16th.
we had a press release come out that the Burbank police announced the arrest of 3 bad guys who had robbed 2 different 7-Elevens in Burbank, one at Hollywood Way and Burbank, and the other at Buena Vista and Burbank, and had robbed 2 7-Elevens at gunpoint, and actually did a lot of other.
Same day?
No,
Like one after the other,
they were within a couple days. Yeah. And they also did a lot of other, they call 211s, which is an armed robbery at different other areas outside of Burbank.
And their MO was the same.
And MO stands for?
Money order?
Method of operation.
Oh, thank you.
Or modus operandi.
That's probably.
Sounds fancier.
Yes. And probably more correct.
But what really got me in the press release that the PD put out, they go in, they don't just go clicking them and taking them to jail. They, investigate where they lived, everything. They came up with stuff from the stores. They come up with what they were wearing.
Oh, they'll do search warrants of their houses. They'll do surveillances, watch them, follow them around.
And they worked with other agencies on this that were involved also. I think the impact.
LA Impact, which is it's a multi-city, multi-agency task force, primarily charged with narcotics investigations, but they also do major crimes. But they have so many resources that they can pool together and handle a case like this, which was a major crime. It was several felonies,
Sure.
but it was LA Impact, and that's been around a long time.
And apparently how they caught him was outside agencies. They followed him.
Yep.
They went in to do a armed robbery. The officers did the follow-up, went in, and the guys, yes, that's what they were there for.
Yeah.
And then they made their arrest. Burbank is not just little Burbank anymore.
No, but
no, these are.
I think the Burbank helicopter. Didn't we see on FlightAware we had the Burbank helicopter over there in LA? So, wait, they're going to encrypt.
Well, it's
they encrypt FlightAware now.
You in
with as law enforcement agencies are lower in staffing and budgets and all that now. It's these task forces are really coming into play to provide the support that individual cities may not be able to.
There was an LAPD had a task force that used to do that. Wait for people to rob. We had that one situation here at the old Security Pacific Bank in Vaughn's Park. That's now Bank of America. They watched them rob the bank,
Followed them up that alley.
Up the alley to the Lakeside Apartments where they had they stashed the
follow
second car.
them back. Yep.
And when they went to get the car into their stashed car, they confronted them, and there was a huge shootout, and there was death and mayhem.
Well, that's obviously
of the suspect,
not the intended or preferred outcome. But once if they follow them back, then they know where to get the search warrant for. And
the uproar was, you let them go in there with guns and rob a bank and knew that was going to happen. And what if they would have shot a person inside that bank? Now, I get, they want to get them red-handed, but you can't. My understanding is now, and you probably know more than I will on this, but you really don't want to go into when somebody's doing an armed robbery, you don't want to go in and confront them with possible hostages inside.
Yeah.
You want them to come outside and be in a more...
Well, so they complete the crime.
Right.
But you don't want to force a situation by going in and trying to take them down inside.
Stuff like that, too.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You don't want to go in and force a situation inside. You want to get them outside, whether it's mobile or not, but after they've basically
I think you were referring to, Craig, there was a pursuit about a week or so ago, and one of the news stations, it was KCAL, who reported that they looked at FlightAware and they said Burbank PD is over in West LA. And they couldn't figure why Burbank was involved. They finally, Burbank watch commander, the helicopters don't always tell their watch commander where they're flying.
And there's multiple agencies they work for, too. And that's not just Burbank.
They were doing, again, a task force with an outside agency, and that's why they were flying over there, because Burbank can fly where they're needed. And they used to take the task force when they did a recovery of big drugs and money and split it up. I don't know how that works anymore.
Well, the asset forfeiture, they sell it and divvy it, but that's something through the courts and stuff that handle that. But this LA Impact, it's Interagency Metropolitan Police Apprehension Crime Task Force. Rolls right off the tongue.
Yes, it does. Or Impact.
LA, that's why they call it LA Impact. Exactly.
And it's like these smash and grabs. Burbank has an officer now that is participating in that crew. Again, get multiple agencies.
Yeah, you got these task forces, these departments pooling resources to go after this. Because you think it's not by happenstance that they caught these two guys. You didn't have patrol knock on a door or anything like that. You had potentially dozens of officers doing investigation, follow-up, surveillance, getting warrants, things like that. It doesn't happen magically.
But I will say, for many years, and I remember we wanted to cover street cameras and some of the things that the police use now. And in fact, one of the awards that were handed out at the luncheon was to the city's computer team and streetlight camera crew. They have helped solve something like 165 calls.
Yeah.
Who caused an accident?
All those cameras you see on the signals on corners, they're watching you.
Well, they're not always watching you, but they can go back.
They can go back and look at the recording. I mean, it's kind of like they do in London. In London, they record like every intersection. And
so if you're a bad guy and you think you're going to do a crime here in Burbank, investigators, that's their job.
Well, there are cameras everywhere. It's not just cameras on poles and stuff like that.
But they look, every 7-Eleven has cameras, license plates. That's where they start.
But I think a lot of businesses don't have good camera systems.
Well, yeah, it's relying on the quality of the equipment, the cameras. If they have the resolution to see a license plate, systems have to be working, actually recording. Well, and unfortunately, you have a lot of businesses where regular employees aren't trusted with the access to the equipment. So now you got to, if the manager or the owner is out of town for 2 weeks, you don't have access to it.
Burbank's system is so set up now, you can email them your footage. They have, anybody can. My son was involved in some cases, and they said, "Here's the DR, here's the access, and you just send us your footage. That's all you got to do." I will say I was involved in an auto accident, Buena Vista, Magnolia, a couple of years ago, and after the accident, I know I had a green light, and the car made one of those left-hand turns right in front of me, and she said, "No, I had a green light." No, green light was for southbound traffic, not for the left-hand turn lane, and she nailed me.
She had a green light. It's just she didn't have a green light is supposed to yield.
Well, after she made her left-hand turn, she saw a green light.
But,
you know what? I went to the city, and you can get that footage. My insurance company got the footage, and clear as day, she had the yellow, yield, and I had the green light, and that's what solved that case real quick.
Anyway, great arrest by LA Impact, the
And
whole team, and Burbank PD. Now, hopefully the county will prosecute them justly.
Well, that's a question I had for you. Is that a, cite and release type thing? Or are they going to?
No, it's a
Well,
felony.
it depends. If all you need is one felony, and it's a district attorney
So it's a
issue. So
As far as
it's going to
setting,
be a Gascon thing.
as far as setting bail, and as far as that's out our control.
Well, the bail's
recommended.
set by standard bail schedule issued by the county. If they go to court and they're assigned bail there, that's by the judge. But it's usually pre-written. It's standard for whatever the crime
That
is.
can take a while.
Well, I'm not going to get into the whole process, but it's basically you look it up in a book. It's pretty standard. You look at 211 PC, the bail is this much.
You have to be in court within about 96 hours or something after being arrested, I think it is.
Well, you have to get the probable cause declaration in within 48 hours because they have to be
Right. Well,
seen by the court.
That brings us to our weekend. And last weekend we had something kind of unique and very cool in Burbank in the sports side. Was the Adaptive Sports Expo that was held over at McCambridge Park and had all sorts of activities and sports.
I saw some pictures from that. It looked like a great turnout.
Our sports editor was there and did a real nice article on it.
Great turnout.
Rashi said there were several hundred people.
Yeah,
there.
I've read comments. The city staff apparently did quite a bit of research. They went to other cities that have done this. So they were prepared. And apparently there were several hundred people. Baseball, the basketball, there were like 6 or 8 sports that, they did this for, and they were really pleased. And the mayor was out there and got himself in a wheelchair and did some competitive basketball playing. So hats off to our city sports department that put this on, and Burbank is a leader in helping people that are confined to wheelchairs or blind or hearing enabled that get involved in sports.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Is that they're obviously planning to continue that as a regular
as
thing?
Successful as it was. It
Yeah.
was at McCambridge Park, and you have a lot of things up there that they could do.
And they're already doing a wheelchair basketball league.
I
there,
saw
believe.
that. Yeah.
So,
That's great.
okay.
Great event.
Well,
we have an article in myBurbank.
yeah,
that people
our sports editor Jim Reggio did a real nice article on it.
Who?
Jim Reggio,
Oh, okay.
he's our sports editor.
Yeah, it just sounded like you sneezed.
Oh,
Because I'm tight.
well, thank you, Jim Reggio. Well, that kind of wraps up for last week. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk about the week that will be.
Enjoying the show right now? Thinking you may want to do your own podcast? myBurbank Talks is renting out our podcast studio on an hourly rate. You can do audio podcasts or both audio and video, and even bring in guests to talk with. We will help you get set up on podcast platforms and start a YouTube channel, and we can edit your productions to make you look and sound your very best. If you're interested, please drop us an email at studiorentals@myburbank.com. That's studiorentals@myburbank.com, and we will get back to you. Now, back to our show.
Do we have to thank Ryan for that? Oh, no, it wasn't Ryan. Last
Okay.
week, Craig thought that was Ryan Seacrest.
It does sound like Ryan Seacrest.
Oh, well, who knows? Maybe
I know who's really behind it because he said program
program.
and Tuesday.
Well, let's get into this week. Craig Sherwood with you, along with Craig Durling,
Still here. They haven't changed the locks.
and yes, the hatless Ross Benson.
My tooth is back
He's
in.
got his tooth.
Okay.
What's today?
Well, yeah,
Monday,
today's Monday.
February the 19th.
You know,
Today, the
there's
day
a lot-
we're recording
there's
this.
A lot of people leave that R out of there. And
It's really hard to say,
Yeah.
especially being from Boston. I don't want to say my R's anyway, but February.
Wait,
I can only say it if I say it like that.
You have to slow down
February.
and actually think about
It has a hyphen in it.
wait. In schools, that's how they taught you back there in Boston?
In Boston?
Boston?
Yeah. Takanaka's and stuff.
I remember when you were.
It's wicked cold right now.
I remember many years ago when you and we lived together as roommates, and if you get you going,
Yeah. Yeah, you get me going, and it comes out. I've always said if I'm back with the family back home on the East Coast, if I'm there for 2 days with them, I'm talking like Cliffy from Cheers.
Yeah, it's back in Goodwill Hunting mode, huh?
Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
where the clam chowder is.
Oh, good chowder.
How
You
about
got some
them
friends.
apples?
None of that Manhattan.
You
clam
you have
chowder,
a couple of buddies that always like to emphasize that on Facebook.
Chowder?
Yeah, chowder.
I have a friend that calls me Chowder.
Love it.
Well, today they call President's Day. Now, we used to have 2 President's Day. We had one 2 weeks apart on Mondays. I can't remember which order, but one was for Washington, one was for Lincoln.
Mondays?
Yes, on Mondays. Oh, yeah, you won't let me forget now, will you?
It's like, did you remember to wash your undies?
Oh,
I was just going to say that.
Anyhow, so now both presidents got lumped together into one day.
But officially,
I'm not sure which President's Day it really is today.
it is to honor all presidents, but originally it was to honor George Washington's birthday, which is actually on February the 22nd. But they now have it. I think it's the 3rd Monday of February. It's to honor all presidents. Some states still celebrate Lincoln's birthday.
Yeah, it was Lincoln's
as a state holiday.
Right.
But federally, they're all recognized under President's Day, even though it was originally actually Washington's.
What was our holiday last Monday? It was
Uh,
it was a holiday. I know that.
you can look it up. I shall look it up. Stand by. Stand by.
Wait,
Do we have any hold music? Any?
Oh yeah, the Petticoat Junction.
You want a little Petticoat Junction? We can.
I don't show.
Okay.
Oh wait.
Petticoat. I don't have Petticoat. How about that? Here's for you.
That was.
Ooh, ooh.
Oh, we have a.
No, I have a non-answer. According to Apple, I don't show last Monday as a holiday.
Oh, but it was no, because I know somebody.
This is the picture of Craig Sherwood doubting himself.
No, somebody told me it was a holiday. I don't know. What do I know? I know nothing.
I don't know.
I know
believe
less than
it
nothing.
may have been, but I'm not showing it on my device here.
I know 0. I know less than 0.
Yeah, I don't see your calendars.
But today is President's Day.
Okay.
And it's been raining all day.
Yes, it has.
Well, thank you to all our presidents. Well, to some of the presidents.
Uh-oh.
We won't go any farther.
Well, I think
But
you
this
just did.
this holiday is to celebrate all of them.
Okay.
Moving on.
I can't believe you feel that way about Nixon.
No, but it was free to get into his museum today.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Maybe all of them. Was it?
Well, he's not.
Is that
correct.
something on President's Day? It's free to get into all of the
Ooh,
presidential
I don't-
museums or libraries?
Libraries, right? I don't think Reagan's was. You got to pay for
Okay.
that.
Going to drive all the way up that hill? You still have to pay? Actually, it's a great museum.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow on Tuesday, there is no council meeting, but we are going to do an Ask the Mayor podcast tomorrow, the one for February, and we are going to.
See, it has to be like 2 parts.
Yes, now
you have to
yes.
hyphenate it to get
Yes,
it out.
You have to now think about it before you say it. So if you have if you happen to hear this Monday night or in the Tuesday during the day, and you have a question for the mayor, send me an email to questions@myburbank.com and just say "Ask the Mayor" in your subject line, and I will copy and paste it and give it to the mayor to answer.
And if they
only use your first
want
name.
you to use their name,
Yeah, I always use first names, and if you don't want that even used, I'll just say.
just make a note that you don't
Yeah,
want you
I have
want
no
to
problem.
remain anonymous.
What's important is questions, not who you are.
But I think we need to also emphasize this is not Attack the Mayor show.
No, in all honesty,
Those tickets cost extra.
yes. In all honesty, though, I'll just toss those emails. You know, if you want to, we're not here to attack people. We're here to get good information, to have good questions, and
Right.
let's hear
For
his
residents, this is your chance.
his viewpoint as a
This is
city
your
official.
chance.
Moving on to Wednesday.
Wait, you got to say Wednesday weird.
Wednesday is Prince Spaghetti Day. Always has been in the north end of Boston. Prince Spaghetti Day.
Okay.
Anthony's grandma would
You
call
make me
him in.
hungry.
We got him going. We got him going now on
Boston.
Get all
Bostonian.
nostalgic now. Anybody from the East Coast will understand what Wednesday is.
Well, don't
Prince
you?
Spaghetti
no,
Day.
wait. You got a fan club back there because you told me they love listening to you on the Burbank podcast.
Yeah, well, they'll appreciate my Prince Spaghetti reference then.
Ted and Joe and
Look it up. You can find it on YouTube. You Google Prince Spaghetti, or Wednesday, or Anthony Prince Spaghetti Day, or whatever on YouTube. You'll see the old commercial from the 70s.
And he knows the origins of Cheers also,
The origins of Cheers.
which is that place really called?
The Bull and Finch Pub.
There you go.
I've been there. My sophomore year dorm in college. I looked across the street right
Must
at
have
it.
been an ugly night, huh?
Well, the show it was while Cheers was on, and they would come all the time and do exteriors,
Right.
exterior shots. The interior looked nothing like the bar on TV, but the exterior was the actual place.
It was down a stairway, correct?
Yep.
You had
Steps went down from the sidewalk.
Yeah, I'm glad it went down to get in, because I'm sure if you had to come out and go downstairs, people would have rolled down those stairs.
Right
Yes.
into the public garden, right out onto Beacon Street.
what's happening Wednesday, Craig?
So the Burbank Police Department is inviting residents to attend a community meeting at 5:00 at City Hall to discuss the annual military.
Let me correct you right there. Not
Screech.
City Hall. Community Services Building.
You're right. Well, are you sure?
Cricket.
They lay it out in room 102.
Okay.
In that
Burbank
Right.
City Hall, City Council Chamber.
I'm just going by what they put up the press release.
On the press release, it says City
Yeah, it
Council
said City-
Chamber.
City Council Chamber.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean the correction. I'm sorry.
That's
Can
okay.
we reel that back in?
Well, it'll also be online and on local TV6.
So,
Go ahead.
anyhow, it's to discuss the annual military equipment report per California Assembly Bill 481 at 5:00. And then it's before a police commission meeting at 6:00. We would love to tell you what the police commission is about, but
However,
somehow somebody's missed the Brown Act requirement of posting the minutes, the agenda, within 72 hours of the meeting. So we don't know what they're going to talk about on Wednesday.
So wait a
But
minute.
you know what? Neither do they usually.
So last year was in the Community Services Building, which has a lot of room, and they must have expected a big crowd. So are you trying to tell me they're not going to talk about the stealth bomber that Burbank PD has because it doesn't fit?
from the military,
Yeah, because it doesn't fit into City Hall.
No. I mean, it's there, but you just can't see it.
Oh, okay.
boom.
But they are going to talk about drones.
Do I have
And-
it? There you go. Boy, they're like timing, is there?
Nothing like good timing. Yeah,
They're going to talk
comedic
about.
timing.
Craig, help us out here. They're
Yeah.
going to talk about drones.
Well, it's mandated by law. Assembly Bill 481 requires law enforcement agencies that are accepting basically donations or surplus equipment from the military or the government to itemize that, to list it, what their use, how they're going to use it, how long it'll be used for, its value, things like that. And the law also requires that they allow for public comment, and they have a public meeting about it. They post the information on the law enforcement agency's website with that information. But this meeting is mandated by law to give the public a chance to review it and comment on it. Now, I've never liked the terminology of them saying military equipment because it's surplus government equipment. It can be anything from a armored rescue vehicle to a drone to sleeping bags to sandbags, a pallet of sandbags. It can be anything. It's not necessarily just military equipment, but the statute calls it that. So there's
let
no
me-
way to reword it, unfortunately.
Oh,
But we're not. There's no tanks
It's called
and
a
bombs and
a
things
military
like that.
equipment report. What it's called. So
That's what it's called.
But I think
That-
last year we
yeah.
discussed this,
we did.
and they're talking about robots. That is like kids have robots now.
Right. They're
But
little remote control things that can go search buildings instead of canines and officers, things like that.
Things
But
that
it's-
you can get killed by. They
right.
use a
I'd
robot.
much rather
now.
send a remote controlled, little cart or something in.
And same thing with drones. They're now the technology has gotten really up
Right.
to date,
Right.
where they're
I think this all started because they started seeing cities and municipal departments with armored personnel carriers and what looked like tanks. Well, none of them were tanks, but they were used for armored for rescues and by SWAT teams, things like that, to basically counter what they're up against in the field now with all the assault weapons, things like that. It's I'm not going to get into it. It's a political quagmire. But when they say military equipment, it's basically any surplus donation from the government. So it could be anything.
So we should be grateful that they're handing stuff down.
Yep.
Absolutely, rather than destroying it or burying it or
paying for it full price.
Yeah.
I mean, cities.
Yeah. No, the cities don't always get the stuff for free. Sometimes, hey, it's $1. Just because something has to be on the books for the exchange for whatever reason. But go to this meeting or watch it online, and you'll see what it's all about.
I think you watch
5 p.m. on the 21st.
Police Commission meeting after it. We're not sure what will happen.
We don't know yet. We'll find out.
We know they won't
stick around and find out.
We know they probably won't make a decision or recommendation, but they'll have a report or two about something.
Something
going on.
That's at 272 East Olive.
Thursday, we have an infrastructure oversight board, which is going to meet at 6 o'clock at the CSB. And we would be glad to tell you what they are going to. They're actually going to look at all the projects for the 24-25 fiscal year calendar and what they're going to buy, but or not buy, but what they're going to spend money on to fix, like sidewalks and this and that and repavements and all kinds of repairs. But there are 75 items on the report, and you know what? We're unlike the city council that goes to 2 a.m. We're not going to do that to you. So go to the city's website, go to the meetings, and go to the infrastructure committee.
We're not going to be carrying this live and doing live commentary.
It'd be nice.
All 75 items.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be a blast.
Like an auction.
That would be a blast. Yeah.
Well, one of the items that I forgot to bring up during our meeting is this is a perfect example. People last week were shocked when they drove up Olive Avenue, and it's a single lane in each direction. Used to be, we live there. We know how people used to drive up Olive.
That's what our question mayors for tomorrow.
We talked about it back in November.
But I'm just saying, somebody asked and they want to hear what the mayor has to say about it. So that's actually our question tomorrow. So yeah, we've heard a lot of things on Twitter. Everything. People are saying, what's going on?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it in one of our podcasts.
Yeah, when the city council approved it. Actually, I think I had a question about, and you're the one who set me straight on it.
Yeah, because Magnolia is the same width. They repaved Olive. Best time to reline it, and now there's a huge center. And people are saying you can't go up the lane. How's the fire department going to get around? Fire department will get to a fire if there's a fire.
People don't care how the fire department's going to get around. They're worried about how they're going to get around.
Well, true.
Well, there's nothing in the center, right? It's just empty pavement, right? So I'm sure the fire department might actually use that to go to a fire.
Wait, what?
I don't think they're going to wait in traffic behind somebody when the whole center is. But they're mapping it up because they want to actually build that on Magnolia.
Have you ever seen the size of the front bumper on a fire engine? They don't sit in traffic.
That's true.
Well, people don't sometimes. Well, that was part of one of my rants, but Green Streets, it was approved by previous council, not our current council. It was approved. They were out at Holiday in the Park 2 years ago saying this is what we're going to do around Burbank. This is not new stuff. And people say, who came up with this idea? If you listen and pay a little attention to our show or to, things going on in town.
Well, if you pay attention to our show,
read some of these notices.
I think if you pay attention to our show, you wouldn't be the one asking the questions and making the comments on Twitter and everything else. You'd probably already know these things and say, I knew about that.
That's because all of the smart and informed people in this city listen to the show.
That's right. Now our numbers are growing daily.
I think we're up to 17 now. No.
That's
odd.
We
Flush
actually
that down the toilet.
We actually have a we actually have a lot between our all the podcast platforms. So people listen to this, in their cars or whatever, and then our YouTube people also. Yeah, we get it. I'm surprised how many people. The numbers keep going up, and
That's great.
I think I'm happily surprised.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
We do.
Well, you know, there's
we put a lot of work into this to bring this information, so we do appreciate the viewership.
we have a lot of different shows. I mean, Ashley yesterday or this week did a great show.
And they're
last week did a great. I mean,
And
she
they're
did-
all on the website. You
Yep.
can listen to them all on the website.
I think we've done close to 85 shows now. Well, I think only 55 to 60 are on video. Our first 20 to 25 are only audio. So, but we've done about 85 different podcasts now in the 10 months we've been doing this.
Hold
You
on,
know
this
that-
just in. Ross is scribbling something feverishly.
Uh-oh,
So
here he
hold on,
goes.
Yep,
hold
I
on.
am. Our good friend Mike Graceffo, who was on one of your podcasts,
Yes.
he's been in the hospital for a
Oh.
week.
What happened?
Mike has what they thought was diverticulitis, and he had to have some surgery.
Now,
And-
what is
Diverticulitis is your where your intestines develop holes and so forth, and he's had stomach issues for years.
And I take it he's okay. You talking about this
Well,
on the?
yeah, we talked. He called me,
Okay,
and I said,
just
"I'm gonna
making
give him a
sure. We
shout
don't have to edit this whole
Wait,
thing
wait,
out.
wait. He called you
No.
to tell you about this?
I called him to see if he
Oh.
was okay.
Okay.
He was in the hospital a lot longer than he
How,
expected.
how did you hear about it?
It's Mike Graceffo.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not on Facebook.
Anyway,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not on Facebook,
So I
the
just was
suspense is killing
curious
me.
if he was still in the hospital.
Yeah.
And he was in there a lot longer because he couldn't eat anything.
St. Joe's.
St. Joe's. He did have a window view of, he said, Disney and Forest Lawn.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Being over on that side of the hospital. He's recovering. He was supposed to go home yesterday or today. Mike's an Italian. He loves eating his Italian food.
Mike Graceffo.
And
His mother.
I bet he knows what
his
Wednesday
mother
is.
was the best Italian cook. You could not go to his place
I bet
and
you
she
know
would say, "Can
bet-
I make you some spaghetti? Can I make
exactly. I bet you
every
know
time.
what Mike knows what Wednesday is.
oh, I'll,
you?" That Nina Graceffo, she was amazing.
Well.
She could cook like you would.
Okay.
Ah,
But we're burying the lead here. I assume we're wishing Mike well.
Mike, I told him,
absolutely. We hope Mike's
glad-
doing good.
Okay.
Being in the hospital for a week is no fun. But he did say the little amounts of food. He was supposed to go home today or tomorrow, and a bit of recovery at home. Julie's been taking care of him. She was at the hospital for all the hours that he was there. So we give Mike a shout out. Get fast,
Yes.
because Mike is not one to stand still.
Get well,
for 5
Mike.
minutes.
Yeah, Mike is not a good person for doing anything.
Well, he's on the go.
He's always doing something. He's involved
Yeah.
in everything. When I
You
use
know what Mike needs? He needs a parade.
He would be. Yep, you're right.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
are so correct.
And in fact, I've heard that somebody here might actually be going to talk about
And might have some
have
information
a meeting about it
on a parade.
coming up.
Was that not enough of a segue?
That was amazing.
Did you get it?
I-
Can we rewind that?
From St. Joe's,
Oh.
Burbank on Parade. Oh wait,
Well,
This is
I'm
you.
rewinding.
This is you, Ross.
Yes, I'm going to.
so we're gonna,
There are some
let's try
people.
Friday. Yeah, we're gonna do Friday, this Friday.
Can
Then.
we just cut the last 30 seconds.
I have
out?
wanted to put Burbank on Parade back. We haven't done it for many years. There's a lot of reasons why we haven't done it. I am meeting with some stakeholders on Thursday.
I love a good steak.
Wait, spelled a little differently, I think.
Moo.
We are going to discuss. We're going to discuss the possibilities of bringing Burbank on Parade back to Burbank.
Yes.
It's a start,
Yes.
you know. We
There's
don't
got to
know,
be support for this.
and I think there is. It's a community event people loved. I have been wanting to do it for many years, and
But
there's
the
a
city's
lot of,
making it so difficult and
Well,
so
you're right.
expensive.
But now I have talked to a couple of people that are from the city
Oh.
that love community.
You know
events
some
like
people from the
this.
city, do you?
One or two.
Okay.
And I will say that it's in the works, possibly. We'll find out what come Thursday, what we can come up with. It's got to be, they always, every time we've had Burbank on Parade, the blue sky and the clouds, and it's Burbank is,
Everybody loves it.
it's a Chamber of Commerce
Everybody
day.
loves it, but it's so difficult to put together sometimes, right?
It is.
It's a big event. There's a
But
lot of
I think-
a lot of moving parts.
In all honesty, my feeling is this: we spend close to just under $200,000 on the Rose Parade float, and we should have that. It's an important thing for Burbank. The whole world sees Burbank. For that 30 seconds it's on the screen, and
Put that in the
a
parade.
destination place. Why aren't we spending that kind of money on not that much, but at least subsidizing a parade and the Magnolia Park
Holiday in the Park.
Holiday in the Park. Those are two events that the entire citizenry of Burbank enjoys, responds to, comes out, enjoys the day. Holiday in the Park, what was the attendance? 30,000 people came to that event. And the people on the Magnolia Park Committee are scrounging for enough money to try to put that together every year. They need help on that. They're not saying we do it for free, but
all right,
make
for
it
that,
a little easier.
I'm going to cast my fishing pole out there. You mentioned Holiday in the Park.
Yeah.
You know what? We want the citizens not only to come out, but if they have a favorite food truck that they have not seen at Holiday in the Park,
Sure.
they've seen somewhere else, email the name of the company to me. They can send it to Ross at myburbank.com
Okay.
or info at Magnolia Park Merchants Association. We want more food trucks so the lines aren't so long.
Name that truck.
Name that truck. And Burbank has some requirements. Some of them, not all food trucks have them. But we'll do some research. We want to get another dozen trucks
Absolutely.
for Holiday in the Park.
But you have that in November. Why not have this parade in either April or May? But and not just a parade. Make it a day. Make it a day in
I like that
Burbank.
idea.
Like a fair,
Yeah,
I like that idea.
When the parade's over, then there's more
Yeah.
activities. There's more things for families to do.
Need input. You get a lot of community input for these events. You get residents.
Well, you get a half a dozen that they
And-
want what.
And
You know.
you were suggesting to put it on Magnolia and get it off of Olive, where you have a lot of businesses that really aren't, friendly to the average person. They're not businesses.
Well,
that
Magnolia is more of a neighborhood feel anyway.
Yeah,
as
so
far
a
as the
lot of
merchants.
Burbank small businesses that could really use the foot traffic and things like that.
Holiday in the Park. I've talked to some of the businesses along there. They were slammed. They love Holiday in the Park. They have told me it's the best day of the year. It's like, when you bring 30,000 people that's available to come into your shop. So I think Burbank on Parade back to maybe do it in Magnolia Park, or we'll see what this group of stakeholders, what they're thinking. It's not going to happen next week.
No.
This takes a good year to
No,
plan
but you have
stuff out.
the meeting next week. And
Going to
you
have
know
a
what?
meeting?
And we wish you well. And
The force is with him.
There you go.
There you
You
go.
know what? I wanted to do it for a long time. I love community events. I love seeing people across that live on the hill. Everybody involved. Bring the kids,
It is a great perfect family event.
isn't it?
Kids love
I
them.
see all these parades in their city. Martin Luther Day parade, this parade, the Memorial Day parades, the 4th of July parade. I go, God, why don't we have that? What happened in Burbank? Why don't we have our special day where we can come out and celebrate our city and our people? It's great when you see the float going down the street and the Boys and Girl Scouts are all on them, and another one where all the karate kids are chopping and everything else.
Craig wants his special day.
I just think we need to have that day where we highlight what Burbank's all about. What makes Burbank Burbank?
Just remember, if as this comes to fruition, the golden rule about organizing a parade: you never let the guy with the shovel decide how many elephants get to be in the parade.
You're going to laugh. Yes, I go back many years. Circus Vargas.
I don't have an elephant, by the way.
You don't have an elephant
No,
sound?
I don't have an elephant.
I could, but it'll be really loud.
Circus Vargas used to set up here in town.
Yes.
They would bring elephants through the parade. Many years ago, when
I
it was
remember
on
that. Yeah.
3rd Street, we had elephants. We had all sorts of animals. Llamas. I think I have a picture either with Craig or my good buddy Mike Bolton next to a llama from Circus Vargas.
Yeah, we
So-
remember Circus Vargas.
Not to be confused with an alpaca.
We had our parade, and we had our big event at Cambridge Park on the 1st of July by the Burbank JCs, the big carnival, and then we'd all stop at 9 o'clock and watch the fireworks.
You have both spoken to the point on several episodes of this show of the hurdles that are put in front of any organization
Yeah.
trying to get a public event going. So hopefully the communication will start flowing here. And
Well, people don't understand. Holiday in the Park was a $95,000 adventure for Magnolia Park merchants.
that's what it costs to put on.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what those merchants had to pay to get it done.
Well, we had to collect to pay our.
Yeah, well, between
paid.
That's what-
roadblocks and personnel that had to be there.
sponsorships and everything they got, but
I'll come back and I'll let you know. You know what? we find out.
We'll hear about that next week on our show.
We're not going to stop. The committee, the stakeholders that I've talked to, are all in gung ho, and you're going to say, "Hey,
The parade must go on.
And I get it. There are security concerns nowadays. There are, things that, we have bad actors, as they call them, that, people want to do things, and it just happened in Kansas City. But, you just can't hide from you.
Does the world shut down because of this?
You got to still have your,
They win if we stop
Right.
all these events.
take every
and stop
precaution you can
living.
take, but just by not having it is not the solution.
I agree.
Burbank is a really safe community. We've pulled off Holiday in the Park with no problems. I mean, we don't even impound a car. I mean, Burbank is a great community to do something like this, and that's why let's honor some Burbank people in a parade. We have enough.
Let's honor Burbank. It's
right.
yeah. You're honoring the city itself in the
Yep.
in the parade.
Want to keep the politics out of it,
Mhm.
and
Good luck with that.
do that.
Okay. Well, moving on to the
Well,
weekend.
Craig, you're going to be on that committee.
You know, it would be great on a nice Friday evening. A hike,
A hike.
a nice
What-
hike.
What kind of a hike?
Oh, in the evening, what do you have? A nice
Uh,
moonlight hike.
what you? Did I hear the word
What?
moonlight?
Moonlight? Why did you hit the button? Oh, is moonlight the word of the week?
Oh, you got to stop saying that word for a
You
second.
gotta stop moonlight.
Oh.
You can't.
Oh.
You can't. Oh boy!
It's programmed.
I need to let you know I've been moonlighting.
Oh no,
But moonlight is the word of the week.
that's it.
You want to explain it, or should I?
Well, why don't you go ahead and explain?
I'll give you a break. You've been talking.
Yeah, we say might have one of those D's in there somewhere.
Right, you have until Wednesday. No, word of the week this week is moonlight. So for your chance to win a $25 gift card to Hill Street Cafe, the wonderful Hill Street Cafe, local business, email contest at myburbank.com. Include the word
Word
moonlight in the subject line. Go ahead and throw your mailing address of choice in the email so we can send you. It goes into a random drawing.
Yeah, and then-
All the submissions go into a random drawing.
There's
One
the
winner is
Phillips.
chosen who will win the gift card for the week. So good luck to you. And if you've gotten this far in the show, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. So anyhow, we are going to have the moonlight
Oh, yeah, there's a story
Hike.
associated with
Yes,
that,
hike.
isn't there?
from 6 to 7 at the Starlight. I'm Starlight at the Stout Canyon Nature Center.
6 to 7 p.m.
Yeah, it's just 6 to 7. I would call first because we don't know what the rain we had this past weekend, if the trails are going to be open or not, if they're going to be, or they may can't. But it's scheduled, so it's going to have like 4 days to dry out a little bit. But guess what, people? This coming weekend, we have another storm coming too. Next Sunday night.
Later in the weekend. Friday right now is looking,
Friday's looking
45
good,
to
yeah.
68, partly cloudy or partly sunny, whichever way you want to look at it. But yeah, you're right. Because of the rains going on right now, the trails might be affected.
And another storm coming in next Sunday. So
What, Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday. Like an ice cream sundae?
Yes, and those are good too.
Love those.
Oh,
Love those. So that's
Well-
that's the hike.
that's it. And that
Excellent.
and the weekend is kind of free next week because we're all getting ready for Storm Watch
Storm Watch
2024.
2024.
So that leaves us.
Well, you know what's left.
You-
You,
you
know
got-
what everybody's still here for.
You got in that part of the show, and guess who just saw his flames tonight during his
Even
rant?
for the first time.
Yeah,
This is the only reason I'm still in the room.
this is it.
Is for this part.
Okay,
Which
well,
is what? What's
it-
happening now?
It's time for
Ross's rant. Ross's rant. Ross's rant.
I'd take a flamethrower to this place.
Me. What's up, Doc?
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Is
That's
that
pretty
on
good.
video?
I don't have a jingle. You have a jingle. Well,
Oh, we
that's a
won't talk
jingle,
about
but
your dingle.
an intro.
Your jingle.
No.
I have a couple items.
I knew you
A
would.
couple.
I have a couple items. A couple weeks ago, complained about driving back to Burbank via Sherman Way, and every block or every other block, there's a billboard for an attorney. Well, Burbank is getting attacked. Bus shelters along Glen Oaks now, every other bus shelter has an attorney.
Or real estate agent.
Yeah, we saw that today. But it just gets me that, and they jump out at you. You know, if it's Larry Parker or Hector or whoever. I mean, these billboards.
I guess it's not very effective. You don't know who they are.
Is that Dutch?
Yeah.
Whoever?
I call that blight.
But if they're effective, you'd know who the people are in the pictures.
You know, they're not even Burbank attorneys. That's what gets me. And then one of my other ones was, I hear people complaining all the time, well, I never knew that event was going to happen. We cover a lot of events.
That's the whole reason for having this show.
Isn't it, though?
We have had a calendar that's free to put stuff on myBurbank. And we don't just take and put your stuff on it. It goes out as a tweet. It goes out on our Twitter, goes out to 48,000 people.
Oh, 49,500.
Wow. You know, but when people say, oh, I didn't know that event took place, or after the
Yeah.
fact, I just, and then I got yelled at on Facebook the other day.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, there were some
Oh.
people, I guess I'm rude. It's just because I say stuff like, folks, if you do your homework. And it just kind of gets me. Like,
You know what? It's not rude. People say it's rude because people are offended by everything nowadays. You're curt. I'm curt.
Kurt
And
Cowan.
it's often confused with being rude. No, we just get to the point and we say what needs to be said. Get over
yeah,
it.
and
But I don't understand. See, I'm off Facebook. I couldn't deal with it anymore.
there's
I-
so much
I'm
junk.
off- because you know what? People get on there and say, "Why were the helicopters flying over?" And you see it like 2 days. It's like, what? People on Facebook are going to answer that question for you? Why not call the police department if it's so concerning to you?
What drives me
mean-
crazy is people fishing for attention. Like you'll see, people post, "I'm having the worst day," or "Ugh, woe is me." They want people to bite. So, what's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you having a bad day?
oh, there was
Facebook is not the place for that.
today,
It's
somebody,
for piano playing cats.
Yes.
Okay.
somebody got,
Come on our show and have a guest rant.
Oh, we could have a whole show. It could be
Yeah.
a whole series.
We do have
One a week.
we do have an extra chair here.
There is.
well, today somebody apparently planned a big meal and then their power went out. And they tried to call Water and Power, and today's a holiday. And they said, oh, I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow to cook my meal that's been put in the crock pot. No. If you look on the city's website, there's an emergency number that you can call that goes to the guard shack, actually. And there were crews out. I listened to their frequency today. They went from power outage to power outage. This weather, palm fronds are blowing transformers out.
Was that an echo?
Oh, that's the name of a stripper.
Is there an echo in here?
Well,
Fron?
okay. The other quickly of that I get, my 2 seconds for my rant.
2 seconds.
Oh no, you can take as long as you want. There's a
Well, like the lines on Olive, they put them on there. We talked about it back in November. I remember specifically saying, be prepared. And now that they did it, Craig Durling and I happen to be roommates.
Romance? You're still
That's
hooked
great.
up on
Oh,
Valentine's
No,
Day.
my tooth slipped out.
All right, delete that.
Okay, what is it?
Calling Dr. Freud.
We had a very nice house that we were roommates, and we had a balcony. We would sit out on that balcony come 4 or 5 o'clock,
Smoking cigars.
smoking cigars, and listen to raccoons. And number of cars that ran the stop sign.
And we would just count cars blowing through the stop sign at the
at
intersection.
40, 50, 60 miles an hour. So
Yeah.
they wanted
Up or downhill.
They wanted to slow traffic down on that wide street. And so they've changed it a bit. And you know what? It's going to work, and the motor officers are going to probably be able to cite people. But people are complaining, and they'll always complain.
Oh, it's funny.
Let's change.
They're talking about, oh my God, there's only one lane in each direction
Right.
now. Like every other street going up the hill, like Harvard or Walnut that has the golf course and Castaways.
You're putting friction in between people in their normal everyday routine. How dare you?
Yeah,
Yes, and I get
Stop saving their lives. How dare you?
I get to the top of Olive. Guess what? Sunset's only one lane in each direction too. So I mean, how much traffic is going?
Yeah,
on?
you know how hard it is? How hard that makes it to get over 80?
Yes.
Almost impossible.
You know, but they
Fun to
don't
try, though.
They don't take into account that there was a fatality accident a couple years ago that at the corner of Sunset and Olive, and speed was the factor on that accident.
I think it was more the stone wall was the factor.
Well,
That's a sudden stop up there.
that's what he ran into. The other one is I saw, I listened to Ashley's podcast yesterday. I want to promote all of our podcasts, but she had the past president of Coordinating Council,
Marianne Bean.
Marianne Bean, on, and Marianne talked about quite a few things that she's been very involved in. Well, I saw today, Coordinating Council is looking for some volunteers, people that are
Volunteers to join their board.
Right. They're looking for some new board members. Folks, you want to get involved in Burbank? Perfect way. You don't have to go to a ton of meetings. They have one a month, and they talk about a ton of things.
Well, I'm not sure they still have the direction they used to have. It's been 90 years. And I know at one time, 20, 30, 40 years ago, it was always about coordinating all the service clubs, all the nonprofits, so they could all come there and knew what was going on with each other. Now, I don't think they do much of that anymore.
Well, that's what they do at their meeting. Everybody could stand up and talk about your organization. Okay. If you have right now we are in nonprofit gala season.
Oh, yes, we are.
We've gotten invited now to 5 or 6, but each group usually goes there, and they also do coordinating the Christmas.
The baskets,
and also
they do campers. Also, they sponsor campers.
See how many people knew that?
I'm just impressed that you've known each other so long you can finish each other's sentences.
Well, I can just see what he's.
That's adorable.
I can see what he's about ready to stop.
What's funny is he sat in on the podcast being recorded, and I listened to the podcast. And when they both looked over at Craig, I figured I knew what they were looking at.
Well, somebody had to wake me up. No. It was very interesting. I did not fall asleep.
But no, people wonder, get involved in your community. You don't have to jump in 2 feet. You got young professionals.
This isn't a huge time commitment, this particular board, right?
No.
Yeah.
But even if you're a church, go to Coordinating Council and share your church's stuff. So they are looking for some board members. Highly recommend, they have lunch and, they share. They're only there for an hour. Sometimes they have a speaker. But that also then segues for me into our podcast. Ashley does some great ones. We have some sports ones that Craig and Coach Hart do. There's a couple interesting ones.
Coach's Corner, yes.
Coach's Corner. You want to find out a little about Mickey DiPaolo?
We get into it.
Who?
Mickey DiPaolo.
How do I find out more about him?
Their podcast.
Coach's Corner.
Oh, Coach's Corner.
He was a coach for a long time.
That's handy.
Yes. We did with Mike Roseffo. So.
We also did a podcast at Carewalk.
Yes.
Which we've been asked.
And we're doing one again this year.
That's right. April
20th.
20th.
Yeah.
We've been asked to come back.
A remote podcast, so you can come out and see how the sausage is made.
We're making sausage.
Careful what you wish for.
Yes.
There's going to be sausage?
There's also Road Kings. Does their big car show? We've been asked. Come on back.
We've been axed?
No, asked.
Oh, okay.
To come on back.
That's a whole other.
So, I had a list, wrote them down, and there's a lot going on in our great community. The water is flowing in Burbank. I haven't heard any problems. I haven't heard any underpasses getting closed.
As long as it's not in water bottles, at least.
Well, the community needs your support.
That's
You
right.
got no right to complain if you're not part of the solution, right?
There you go.
Don't be part of the problem.
And I know.
And if we get the parade going again, they're going to need a ton of volunteers to help out
Yeah.
with the parade.
Huge effort for that.
We go back. We go back to when Burbank on Parade started. Adults went from Olive and Riverside all the way to Olive Rec, and I remember being on the roof of Dalt's building with binoculars watching the parade. If there were any problems. Then it got shortened because the Boy Scouts, the young Cub Scouts, couldn't walk the 5 miles to Olive
It would
Rec.
be a long walk, yeah.
And then they shortened it because they didn't want us to.
They didn't want to close Buena Vista.
Well, Buena Vista, so they started Buena Vista, and then they put the kids on.
Remember, and I used to be on 3rd Street.
Years ago, you're right. Yep. So we've seen it around this town, and Glen Oaks. I have pictures of it back up on Glen Oaks. So,
but we were hoping they put it on Magnolia Park and help the merchants out with it would be good for everybody.
And I want to say that I was asked last week, after a fire, to find the cause, and I was given some homework.
You were given some homework. Was to find out the
Your dog ate it.
Is that where it went? I'm going to.
Well, you'll see it again.
I hope your dog's not like my dog and once again sleeping on the job, because he's
This one's going to throw you.
Okay. Toss me.
The cause was inconclusive.
So what does the insurance company say about that?
And inconclusive for the fire investigator
we're talking about the fire that was on Glenwood.
Correct.
And Oak.
Correct.
The abandoned building.
Inconclusive. Not resolving fully all doubts or questions. Evidence without final results or outcome.
So it was
the insurance company doesn't have to pay out?
So it was rats with matches.
Rats.
I will also say I did see a Facebook post.
Uh-oh.
I don't like to share, but there was a fire, if I recall, on Myers that we ran a picture on. Apparently they lost, that family did not have fire insurance. They lost everything in their garage. There is a GoFundMe page.
That was a garage fire, not a house fire.
Right. But they had a lot of personal property.
Right.
And they lost it all. And somebody, if you go on, GoFundMe, they're asking for donations if people can donate to this family.
Do you have a name or anything, or that?
It's listed under emergency or fires. If you put in Burbank Fire, I guarantee it'll come up. Or put in, I think that fire was 1,300 block or so of Myers.
Well, you type in Burbank and fire, that's probably going to get you.
We'll throw something.
I know it's going to be in Burbank, Illinois, or Burbank, Washington.
But I just noticed that one. So, what a full show!
We could go for hours.
There's
We
a lot
could.
going on.
In fact, let's do that. Let's go for hours.
Oh, no. This
Let's
is not a city council meeting. We're not paid
Oh.
staff here.
Okay, we'll bump the rest till next week. How about that?
We'll have to do that.
Okay.
Well, that is it. So, for Ross Benson and Craig Durling, this is Craig Sherwood once again saying thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week with another edition of The Week That Was and The Week That Will Be.
Good night, everybody. My Burbank Talks would like to thank all of My Burbank's advertisers for their continued support. Burbank Water and Power, Cusimano Real Estate Group, UME Credit Union, Burbank Chamber of Commerce, Game Credit Union, Providence St. Joseph Medical Center, Community Chevrolet, Media City Credit Union, UCLA Health, Tequila's Burbank, Logix Credit Union, Hill Street Cafe, Bertain Escobar Wealth Management, and the UPS Store on 3rd Street.